in transition to go into this next section, but it got lost on me. So, introduce the next speaker. Vicki was asked why she put so much time, money, and effort into the Canfield Training Group. After lots of thought, she has come up with an answer. I'd like to introduce Vicki Chatterton.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. I had the experience of helping and assisting at Jack Canfield's one-day event last week. That's why I was not here. And I flew in to Denver, got there at 1 o'clock in the morning on Monday. We set up that afternoon, held the event Tuesday, and I flew out early Wednesday morning. When I got back, a friend of mine asked, why would you spend 48 hours traveling, going back and forth of your time, helping this gentleman, and it's on your dime? And I had to think about that. Why would I do that? Well, it got me thinking. My very first event with Jack Canfield was a one-day event. It was in Anaheim, and the reason I went was because it was Anaheim. It was Disneyland. I could spend the day in Disneyland after the conference. But this was my first experience, and I can remember walking in as though it was my first Toastmaster meeting, having that gut-wrenching feeling of, I'm not going to know anybody, am I going to be able to be safe in this environment? And the first thing I did was walk up, and this lady, Lila Larson, extended this huge smile and said, welcome, we are so glad to have you. And I was like, wow, this is really nice. And she and I chatted through the day because we just had a connection, and it was a wonderful moment. And I asked her, how do you get on Jack Canfield's staff? Because I wanted to be part of this. And she said, oh no, we're all volunteers. We pay our own way, we pay our hotel. We get to watch the conference for free, but we all volunteer and just come like that. And I thought about that, and I thought, what is it about this gentleman where people, 20 volunteers in an event, are willing to fly across country to be at this? And then I watched his one-day event, and I got the information. And now with most programs, one-day events are feeders into bigger events because they want you to spend more money. And after the one-day event, I was signing up for his 7-day event. I was ready. I was on board. I was excited. And that August in 2009, I went to his 7-day event. And it was amazing. There were over 450 people there. And just the connections that I made, I felt as though it was a family. And that's what the Canfield group becomes, as a family. And when we post on Facebook, sometimes we use that hashtag, Canfield Family. And it's really interesting because as it grows, because he wants to train 1 million trainers by the year 2030. And that's quite a feat. But he is going to do it because those of us who have trained under him will use that and let other people know what it is that he's doing.
Yeah, and I want to know what it is he's doing, because I've gone to some volunteer things before, and you know, people, you don't pay anything, but then you don't get anything out of it. So it just really is, sometimes these people see you coming, and you know, they get you there, and and what are you going to do?
Because exactly. There's a lot of organizations that you volunteer at, and you feel as though you're giving, and not getting anything back. And Mary, I can understand how you would feel about that. But with this, it's not that you're giving and not getting back. You get to listen to the 1 day, or the 7 days, or the 5 days. Yes, Tyler. Oh, great. Thank you. I appreciate your go-getting. And let me just share a story about Tyler, since he came up there. I warned him, because the Canfield group, we're huggers. Now, our family that Tyler grew up with is a very English, proper family. And, you know, his grandfather shakes his hand. There's never this big embrace. If it were an Italian family, we would be hugging everybody all over the place. So I had to warn him because he went with me last August. And it was one of these things, Canfield group gets together, we start hugging. We were in Whole Foods and I ran to the bathroom and I saw Tyler and he's like, I think your friends found some more of your Canfield family because they're in the produce section hugging each other. And I just walked over and there they were. They were hugging, and there was this just spontaneous, anytime somebody else would come in because it was the first day and everybody was shopping in Whole Foods to get their week's supply, we were in aisles hugging everybody, and poor Tyler.
Oh, come on now. You don't do that in public.
Well, if you go to a Canfield event, no matter where you are, if you run into a Canfield member, you're hugging. And we have...
Well, that doesn't sound like an Italian name to me.
It's not. It's not. He's more evolved than Italians even. He has just gone to many trainings and have found even the proper way to hug. And it's amazing. I know.
Proper way.
Yeah, look, Tyler, since you're my son, I can show the proper way to hug. I know. You're reluctant about this. But it has been proven that if you hug on the right side, so where your left ear touches their left ear, yes, then your hearts connect. So let me show you. I know, you're like, oh my gosh. But that is a heartfelt hug, and that means that your heart's connected. And it's just one of those things. And when I get back to Wenatchee and I hug my friends, because I'm more of a hugger now, even though of my upbringing, we look like we're trying to figure it out because everybody wants to go to this side. And I'm so used to going to this side, it's like, we're not going to kiss. So it's just one of those fun things about the Canfield family. So yes, I have spent a lot of money and time and effort. But then I got to thinking, Toastmasters. Toastmasters is my family too. I celebrated my 10-year anniversary this month. I was excited. I've been in Toastmasters for 10 years. And I pay dues to Toastmasters. So I'm paying for that. When I go to a conference, I have to pay for my hotel room. I have to pay for my travel. So when I got to thinking about my friend asking me why I'd spend so much money on this, the Canfield, I spend money on Toastmasters too.
Yeah, but Toastmasters is so much different. I mean, it's so much better.
Not really. I understand that you may think it's different, Brandon, but it's also very similar because it's a learning experience. In Toastmasters, we may be focused on one thing, and Canfield may be focused on another thing. But all in all, I'm paying for the experience in both. And I consider both of them to be my family and tribe. And I learn from them. And it's just a wonderful experience. I know a couple weeks ago we had an event in the Tri-Cities for Toastmasters. And this was one of the very first events that I haven't been able to be at in quite some time. And I was looking at pictures, and it was breaking my heart that I wasn't a part of that. But I was doing something else that I needed to be at. And sometimes you have to do that when it's a family event. You have to learn that sometimes you have to say, oh, I really wish I could be there for you and with you. But I can't. I have to do something else. Yes, yes.
Was the Canfield experience the reason why you changed your career, or you chose this career?
It was a combination. It's something that I had always wanted to do. I had always wanted to inspire people, and I didn't know how, because when I was in my 20s and I would see motivational speakers, I would always think Tony Robbins at night on the infomercial with the big grin and jumping up and down. And I thought, I can't be that person. I'm not that person. And then I met Jack Canfield, who, when he speaks to you, it feels that it's one-on-one. Even though there's 500 people in the room, he really talks to you. And when he's on stage, he's not jumping up and down. He's just having this conversation with you. And that is the type of speaker that I wanted to become. And when I learned that there's many types of speakers, I've been introduced now to Les Brown, who is an African-American speaker, Lisa Nichols, Then we have some speakers in the National Speakers Association who each have their own style. And yes, some of them get on stage and are rah, rah, rah. And some of them have conversational styles. And I realized that in order to be a public speaker, I am one that just needs to use my style. And that those that it resonates with will work. And those that it doesn't, they'll find somebody and they'll find their own tribe to do it. And so I'm looking forward to this journey. And I've already started planning next year's events because I'm done traveling for the year. But I know that I'll at least go to one Canfield event to fill up with my Canfield tribe. Mr. Westmaster.